If we are not recognizing the work we're doing and the successes that we have had, how could we possibly expect our brains to want to keep doing more of that?
You are listening to the Decluttering Club Podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Mueller, and it's my mission to equip women to declutter their homes, their time, and their lives so that they have energy for what matters most.
You are listening to the Decluttering Club Podcast, episode number 87, and it's Happy New Year. This is the Monday before New Year's Eve, and I want to wish you all a very, very happy New Year. I have just realized that for me, as soon as Christmas is over, like New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, but also even a couple days before, I get this tremendous burst of motivation. It's insane, you guys. I don't know what's going on, but I just realized that this is going to happen for me. New year, new beginnings. We are just ready to do new things. This is a wonderful time to make changes. I think it's really important that we spend some time thinking through the past year. I want you to take credit for the good things. I want you to notice the lessons, and I want you to say goodbye to the things that you want to leave in 2024. I have 4 questions for you to reflect back on. And then I have 3 questions for you to look forward for the new year. Number 1, what were your biggest accomplishments in 2024 personally and in your home? I think so many people are reluctant to take credit for the things that they have done. I include myself in this group. I'd love it if you are a member, if you share this inside our membership group. But this is your chance to brag. If we are not recognizing the work we're doing and the successes that we have had, how could we possibly expect our brains to want to keep doing more of that? We need to reinforce that. So it's really, really important. So what are the things that you are proud of? What went well this year? Like, let's dig in there. Make a list. Take a little time to just enjoy your success. Number 2, what moments in 2024 brought you the most joy? What brought me the most joy was having my kids home all at one time. 2 of my kids are now grown up. They're not home very often. And so it is very rare that I have all 4 of my boys in my house at the same time. And so that happened a few times this year. I just looked at my kids and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have the most beautiful children. I can't believe that I produced these human beings. So that was something that really, really brought me a lot of joy. Also for me, I just really love travel. I did a ton of travel this year. Being with my friends and going and seeing beautiful places, amazing. I loved that, and that brought me so much joy. When we ask this question, then we can figure out how we can create more joy in the future. But if we never ask the question, we kind of just go through life on autopilot, and then we wonder why we're kind of feeling blah. Number 3, looking back on 2024, what lessons did you learn about managing your time and your energy? We want to learn from the successes and we want to learn from the failures. What was hard and what did that teach you? We don't want to make the same mistakes over and over again. We want to be learning and evolving and growing. And my dad says there are no failures. There's either that you win or that you learn. I love the fact that we can look at all of our experiences in life like this. And this can really, really apply to how we use our time and how we use our energy. That's another thing that I really dug into this year, energy management. And so how to prime the pump, how to increase our energy level, but also how to work with what I need, what my body needs in terms of energy, and just in general, how this works for people as a whole. This is something to pay attention to. It is not good for us to try and just push and grind and never take a break. What does your unique personality need in terms of how you use your energy and your time? Number 4, what do you find easy now that was hard for you at the beginning of 2024? And this is one of those things where it kind of sneaks up on you. So maybe you struggled through something for the first few months of 2024, and now you don't even think about it. I can think of a number of things. One of them is exercise. So I started out 2024 and I have been on a journey for the last several years to try and figure out what kind of exercise do I want to do? I kind of decided to try out Pilates, and that was so hard. It still is hard, but over time it has gotten more enjoyable. I wouldn't say it's gotten easier, but I love it. I just had a lesson yesterday, and my teacher, she said, it's so cool to see you doing these things that I have taught you. We work really, really hard on form and technique. We've spent, 6, 7 months together, 8 months, something like that. And she was saying, wow, you're just putting all of this work into practice. The things that I did yesterday in Pilates class, couldn't do them 8 months ago. And now I know what to do. And it doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen gradually. And it's really cool when you think about it. So what is that thing for you? I know for a lot of people in our community, we like to teach Kitchen Zero as the first thing that we want them to learn when they become a member. We want them to do Kitchen Zero. We want them to do it every day, over and over and over again. And it's hard at the beginning. And sometimes they argue with me. They're like, no, I have to do all these things. Well, once they have been doing it for a while, all of a sudden it becomes easier. And sometimes they even get to the point where they feel compelled to do it. Like maybe they're tired at the end of the day, but they're like, you know what? I'm just going to do Kitchen Zero really quick here because I don't want to wake up tomorrow morning without having done it. And so that's a really great example of how that works. And this is cool when this happens because, again, we don't necessarily expect these things to get easier over time. We can't even imagine how could it get easier, but with practice and repetition and time, then things get easier. So think about that. What is easier for you? That was hard at the beginning of the year. One of the things that we are talking about inside the membership in January is motivation and energy levels and planning. And this exercise is what we're calling prime the pump. Okay, so when we spend some time reflecting, looking back, looking forward, this is a really exciting way to prime the pump for motivation for those new things that you will want to do. It may or may not work for everybody, but I have found it incredibly effective. So if you are looking for some extra motivation, either now or even in a couple weeks or months, when the new year has kind of worn off and it's no longer new, you can go back and look at your answers to these questions. And I'm telling you, it's going to prime the pump. Now, looking ahead to 2025, what are your top 3 goals personally and for your home? What do you want to get done in 2025? Don't just say, oh, I just want to work on my house. I want my house to be a little neater. You're never going to know if you accomplish that. You need to get specific. So maybe it's, I want to get my garage cleaned out so that I can park in it again. Or I want to empty that storage unit. Or I want to have my birthday dinner at my house, and that's going to require me to do some work. What are your top 3 goals for the year? You don't even have to commit. We're just dreaming right now. Sometimes it seems scary to put these things down on paper because we're like, oh, if I write it down, that means I have to do it. That's the idea here. Let's dream big and let's kind of start thinking about what do you want to have happen. If you write down your goals, you are, something like 10 times more likely to actually get what you want. Whereas if we're just kind of daydreaming and we never really think too hard about it, we're never going to make progress. So what are your top 3 goals for 2025? Next question. How do you plan to measure success in 2025? I love this one. There's so many people that tell me, yeah, I've done a lot of work, but I don't feel like I'm making progress. Well, that is very subjective, first of all. If you look around and you see a mess, then you could be like, yep, haven't made any progress. But you forget about all of the work that you have done and all of the work that you've done in yourself too. Are you going to measure progress by the number of rooms that look perfect at the end of the day? You could if you want, but if you pick that, then it's going to require those rooms to look perfect before you have any gauge of success. It's like if you're running a race and you say, I'm only going to measure by if I win the race. That's it. Well, what if you don't come in first, but you do better than you did last time? What if you finish the race? Maybe that's a way to measure success. What if you measure all of the work that you do up until the race? And you measure all your training sessions because you kind of have to train if you want to run a race. So figure out, how do you want to measure success for these goals? Maybe it is minutes that you spend decluttering. You could track that. Maybe it's trips to the thrift store. That could be cool. Maybe it's dollars that you earn when you sell something. Maybe you really want to sell a bunch of clutter, a bunch of stuff that you're not using. You could just track the dollars. That'd be super fun and motivating, wouldn't it? There's so many ways to track your progress. And so you can get creative and have fun with this. And then you'll be more motivated to keep going. And then the last question that I have here is, are there any areas in your home that need a fresh start for 2025? What do you want to shake up? Like, what would be fun? I think there is a time and a place for having things the same and routine and comfort. But then there's other things that when you change things up, you start to see things in a new light and you discover, oh, I like it even more this way. And it kind of can get you out of a rut. When I was a kid, I used to love rearranging my bedroom. I just thought that was so much fun. Moving the bed around, the bookshelves, the desk, just having things in a different place really gave me a fresh perspective and helped me feel like I was not stuck in that rut anymore. In fact, right now, I'm in the middle of rearranging my office just because I felt like it. So you can see it's a little different here. We will see what it ends up being. I'll share some photos on Facebook and Instagram. But what needs a fresh start? And it might be something little or it might be something big. And maybe you want to paint a whole room. I know a lot of our community members, they're getting new flooring put in or they're getting new furniture. And there is nothing like an upgrade like that to just make you feel really good. Sometimes things just get old and tired and it's time to say goodbye to them and let them go. That is what we're doing here. Less stuff, more life. So I wish you a very, very happy New Year's Eve and a beautiful start and beginning for the year 2025. Can't wait to do that with you.
That's all we have for you today. If you enjoyed this podcast, please leave us a review. It would really help us to get the word out. And if you'd like to continue your decluttering journey with us, find us on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube at Decluttering Club or on our website at thedeclutteringclub.com.